My name is Olivia, and I'm 30 years old. I live in a small apartment with my mother. It's not a fancy place, but it's our home, and there's a warmth in it that no amount of wealth could replace. Life hasn't always been easy for us, but despite everything, we've always managed to find joy in the small moments. The thing about happiness is, it isn't always about what you have. It's about the people you love and how you make each other feel. My father passed away when I was 15. I still remember the day like it was yesterday. The empty house, the silence that filled the space where his laughter used to be. Since then, it was just me and my mom, and we became each other's world. I often think about how much she sacrificed for me. She worked tirelessly every single day to make sure I had everything I needed, even when it meant putting her own needs aside. And I never once heard her complain. She was my rock, my best friend, the one person I could always count on. In the evenings, we'd sit together after dinner and talk about our day. No matter how tired she was, she always made time for me. Her smile, always kind, always warm, gave me strength. Even when she was weary, her smile made everything feel like it would be okay. I loved her more than anything. I became a teacher, working at a local school, which I loved. There's something magical about watching young minds grow, seeing their curiosity blossom, and knowing you've played a part in shaping their future. But despite my passion for teaching, my heart was always with my mother. I worried constantly about her health. She was growing older, and I could see that her body was getting weaker. Some days, she was too tired to get out of bed. Those days felt like my world was falling apart. I wanted to do more for her, but my teaching salary was just enough to get by. There was always so much more I wanted to give her, but it felt like I could never catch up. One evening, after a particularly long day of work, I came home to find my mother lying on the floor. My heart stopped. I ran to her, my hands trembling as I tried to wake her. "Mom, wake up," I cried, shaking her gently. She looked pale, her hands cold. I could feel panic rising inside me. I called an ambulance, my voice shaking with fear. The moments that followed felt like an eternity. When we reached the hospital, the doctors informed me that her heart was failing and she needed surgery. The cost of the surgery was astronomical, something I could never afford on my own. Tears filled my eyes. I was doing everything I could, but it still didn't feel like enough. I felt completely helpless. As the days turned into weeks, I sat by my mother's side, holding her hand and hoping for a miracle. Every night, I whispered to her, "Please don't leave me. Please don't leave me." I worked harder than ever, taking on extra classes and doing private lessons. But even after all my efforts, I couldn't save enough. I was exhausted, physically and emotionally. One night, as I walked home in the rain, drenched to the bone, I found a letter in the mailbox when I got home. It had no return address. Inside was a small note. "For your mother's surgery. Take care of her." And there, in the envelope, was a check for $20,000. I stared at the check, my heart racing. I had no idea who could have sent this, but I knew that it was enough. Enough to save my mother. The next day, I took her to the hospital, and the surgery was a success. I remember when the doctor came out to tell me the news. "Your mother is going to be okay," he said. I couldn't believe it. The weight I had carried for so long finally lifted, and I knew we had been given another chance. A week later, my mother was home, and slowly, she began to regain her strength. Her smile was back. It was as if the world had finally righted itself, and for the first time in a long time, I could breathe again. But even as I felt an overwhelming sense of relief, I couldn't stop wondering who had sent us that money. Who had shown us such kindness when we had nothing left? Months passed, and life slowly returned to normal. One day, while I was teaching, a man walked into my classroom. He was tall, quiet, with kind eyes. He introduced himself as Daniel. "I wanted to meet the teacher who changed my sister's life," he said. I recognized his sister immediately. She had been a shy, reserved student in my class, someone who struggled to believe in herself. I had worked with her patiently, helping her find her voice, and I saw her grow over the year. And then it hit me. He wasn't just here for his sister. He had been the one to send the money. "I helped your mother because of what you did for my sister," Daniel said, a soft smile on his face. "But I also wanted to thank you for your kindness. You showed me that kindness really can change lives." I didn't know how to respond. In that moment, I was overwhelmed by everything that had happened. The love, the help, the kindness from a stranger who had become so much more than just that. Daniel didn't just stop by to offer gratitude. He became a constant presence in our lives, visiting regularly, bringing fresh flowers for my mother, books for me, or just his quiet company. My mother adored him, and for the first time in years, I felt a glimmer of hope for myself. His kindness, his understanding, and his patience slowly began to heal a part of me that I had closed off long ago. One evening, after dinner, my mother turned to him and smiled. "Daniel, you take care of us like family," she said. Daniel laughed softly. "You both mean a lot to me," he said, his eyes meeting mine. My heart skipped a beat. There was something in the way he looked at me, something that made me realize that life was offering me something I hadn't expected, a chance to love again. Weeks passed, and Daniel continued to be a part of our lives. One evening, after my mother had gone to bed, he stayed behind to help me clean the dishes. As we stood in the quiet kitchen, his voice broke the silence. "Olivia," he said softly, "I didn't help your mother just because of what you did for my sister. I did it because I care about you." My heart fluttered at his words. I had been afraid to open myself up again, to love and trust, because I had already lost so much. But Daniel was different. He was patient, never pushing me, never rushing me. He was simply there, supporting me, caring for me, no matter how much I tried to keep my heart closed off. One evening, as we sat on the porch, watching the sunset, my mother looked at me and said, "Olivia, you're strong, but you don't have to carry everything alone." Her words touched something deep inside me. It was like I finally understood what it meant to let go of the weight I had been carrying for so long. I had been afraid to trust, afraid to love again. But in that moment, I knew it was time to open my heart. The next time Daniel came over, I asked him to walk with me. We strolled through the park, the autumn leaves crunching beneath our feet. My heart pounded as I finally spoke. "Daniel," I said softly, "I'm scared to let someone in, but I don't want to lose you." He stopped walking and turned to face me, his eyes full of understanding. "You won't lose me, Olivia," he promised. "I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere." For the first time in a long time, I felt safe. I reached for his hand, and he took it, gently, as if he knew just how fragile my heart was. Months passed, and with each passing day, my love for Daniel grew. My mother's health improved, and life began to feel like it had purpose again. The pain I had carried for so long felt lighter. One evening, after dinner, Daniel stood up, his face serious, but his eyes warm with love. He pulled out a small box from his pocket, and my heart skipped a beat. He knelt in front of me, holding the box open. "Olivia," he said softly, "you taught me that kindness can change a life. You changed mine. Will you marry me?" Tears filled my eyes as I looked at him. This time, they were tears of joy. I had found love again, and it was something I had never expected. "Yes," I whispered. "Yes, Daniel, I'll marry you." My mother clapped her hands in happiness, and Daniel slipped the ring on my finger. In that moment, I realized that life had broken me once, but love had healed me. I had lost everything, but in the end, love had found me. And this time, I wasn't afraid to hold on to it.